Hello.
I would like to ask you if you ever been to Odessa earlier. You and maybe.
No. This is the first time. The first time, yeah.
Have you already seen our city?
No, it's like always, we just go out of the airplane, hotel, rehearsal, something to eat, and today also we have 2 rehearsals to prepare, for acoustics and everything, and not that much of, walking around the town and.
Hope maybe tomorrow you could.
Yeah, we have some half day free, so this is when we do it, definitely. We want to see the seaside, and it's really beautiful historic town. It's very nice.
It's really.
Actually, we have this, in Lithuania, basically we have this beautiful, strong connection with all the Ukraine, and somehow, yes, and historically, and so it's really, really nice to be here and to see all these beautiful, warm people and audiences, and yeah, we are very happy.
We are also glad to see you, and a lot of our audience are waiting for a concert because it's for the first time here, and a lot of people have heard in YouTube, for example,
Yeah.
your videos, and they are waiting. Okay, and some words maybe about how did you meet Alexei and have known about our festival?
Yes, Alexei was visiting Lithuania like a year ago, and this is when we get in contact, and he invited us to be here. But actually, yesterday was the first time I met him personally, so this is a very new friendship, but I believe it's a very beautiful one, and we're very happy.
Yes, we also believe. And as I know, and as I saw in photo, for example, all your members of your orchestra are very young.
Yeah.
And the question is, what is the main criteria to choose musicians for your orchestra?
Since the repertoire of what we're doing, basically most of it is my own music, and also some other minimal music like Philip Glass or Arvo Pärt, or this kind of music. So it has, I'm always looking for someone who has this interest in performing exactly this type of music, not totally classical, but this minimalistic, modern minimal. So this is really important, and also to have some, I would say, courage to be on stage with this music, because I include a bit of choreography, and we perform music without music stands on stage. So by memory, this is also something you need to develop, this skill to memorize a lot of music. Like, I think every given time, we could perform around 5 or 6 hours of music from memory. So this is not very much. I think classical musicians, I believe a lot of classical musicians can do that, and because we practice a lot and stuff. But this is definitely also an important detail of our performance, play by heart.
And have you ever maybe had such an experience to play 5 or 6 hours?
On stage, I don't think so, but we have a lot of experiences where we have different programs each night, and they are long, and it becomes like 7, 6, 5 hours of different music. Yeah, so this happens.
The musicians are the same in your orchestra, or for different programs, different?
No, mostly is the core of the group is the same, and we actually started now our 15th season, because I started this ensemble when I was 19, and so there are a few members, like the first violin, Augusta. She plays from the first concert in 2006, and also we have some younger guys who were joining us later. So yeah.
It's great. 19?
Yeah, 19. Yeah.
And it was also my question. I know that all the musicians play by heart, and is it what the main reason for this? Only for aesthetic, for example, on the stage, or to express their?
In my case, it was a really very practical decision, because one of the first pieces that I wrote for strings and I wanted to perform with my group was called Body Language, and it's the piece where you start each phrase and finish each phrase with a slow movement of your hand, very wide movement, like a circle. So additionally to that, you are hearing the music, you also see this visual, like really minimal, simple choreography, yeah. But since the piece is very slow and very meditative, it really strengthens the image of the piece, this visual side of it. So since we started rehearsing it, I felt like having those, stands and music sheets, it brings, it's not that beautiful to watch because you see the forest of stands and, so we tried to escape of that and, yeah. So this was the beginning of playing without scores. Yeah.
Okay, the question is, as to your pieces,
Yes.
your own pieces
Yeah.
as a composer, does only your orchestra plays them or some other?
No, other orchestras too. I mean, I have a lot of pieces for symphony orchestra or duo or trio, quartet, different, and it's not necessary to perform from memory. So only Nico does that this way because we use the choreography. But actually, you can perform it without those movements, without this choreography. It's just our way to do that.
What about our performance today? Will it be also just a little show?
Yes, we will perform at the beginning of the concert. We will give some recompositions of Antonio Vivaldi, done by Max Richter, British or German composer. I don't know. Sorry, Max Richter, British composer, yeah, and Philip Glass. And then we will start. We'll go to my own music, like 45 minutes, different pieces of my own. I will be sitting by piano and also singing a bit, and there will be a bit of choreography, and so yeah.
And I would like also to ask about the name of your pieces. For example, Never Ignore the Cosmic Ocean, yes? Or
Yeah.
What's Unrobotizable?
Yes.
And how these names are.
Actually, this is also part of creation, and I have these elements. I hear the main material in my head, musical material. Then I very often see visual part of it. So, for example, those movements or positioning on stage. This is really important for me, and it's the same creation to also think about the name of the piece. So it's connected and it goes all together. So it's actually just a different sides of the same process. So for example, Never Ignore the Cosmic Ocean for me it's very uplifting, very upbeat piece, and it's about being spiritual, open, adventurous, and very open to what's around us. So you never ignore the cosmic ocean of possibilities and of everything. So somehow it's just it really goes together, all those three elements: the name of the piece, the choreography, and the music itself.
Yes, the whole concept.
Yeah. It's a package, and sometimes you might think it's a different but it's all together. It's all in one.
That's great. And when you, for example, choose the classical pieces by classical composers, and then you give your vision, what is the main, maybe also reason to choose the piece of classical? You like it, or maybe you also choose by idea of the piece?
Yeah, mostly the personal taste, and I'm very happy I have this freedom to perform what I really like to do, and select my own repertoire every time. I'm not very often doing recompositions. I did this for Bach Chaconne because I had this vision of, it's a solo violin piece, but I have this vision of two performers doing that, also with a little choreography. But I often have, since we as an ensemble perform mostly modern music, but sometimes it's required to perform something classical, and usually we don't do that, but we can take some arrangements. For example, Michael Nyman did Mozart, or Max Richter did Vivaldi. So there are composers who recompose those classical pieces, and I just select those and put it into the program. So we have kind of classical, but it's a bit in a modern way,
Yes. And as to your opinion, for example, for young people, what is more interesting? For example, such composed pieces or classical or both?
I think both. Basically, I think there is not necessary to divide music into the different genres or epochs or something. It's just music. It's good music, beautiful music. It's a matter of taste and matter of performance also. I think artist, the musician who is on, person who is on stage, has to bring it, you know, to have what to say. This is really, really important. And I think the difference, the biggest difference, like 50 years ago, I believe, was easier to play classical music for the audience because it was kind of a matter of being educated, polite, and it's like a rule, you know, you have to just sit straight and listen to the music. Now, young people are not this way. They are convinced only if it's really authentic, interesting, because, you know, we have a lot of information on Facebook, YouTube, internet, and so if you have young audiences, they really, you can't expect them just to sit straight and listen if it's boring. So I think these days, today, it's really important to have artists who are convincing. Even maybe it was never that important as it is today, because we don't have this general, you know, norm that this you have to listen to this music, or, you know, no, you have to convince them to listen it. And
I can agree, because even young people who study classical music, they also sometimes bore about it. And
yeah,
such a way is for them, of course.
yeah.
And from what age have you began to compose?
So first piece I wrote maybe when I don't remember, because, you know, my whole family are musicians. So mother is a conductor of 3 choirs, and father plays flute in Philharmonic Orchestra, and brother plays flute in Philharmonic Orchestra too, and sister plays oboe. So we are a classical musician family, and I was the youngest child. So from the time I don't remember, I was you know, playing with piano and composing. So I think the first time I tried to write it down on the paper, I was like 5, and then yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Is this piece exist for today?
I have it on the paper, but I never perform it. Yeah, it's very childish, but yeah, it was the beginning. Yeah.
Maybe some words about how it was difficult or not, or interesting at the time during the quarantine, all this half a year.
You know, in one way we got this chance to be very creative and, you know, write new music and slow it down a bit, because it's a very fast and intense schedule usually. And for example, I have this you know, special moment where it's really different, 2 different sides of me, one as a composer and one as a performer, and I hardly combine it into one. I mean, if I'm on tour, I really don't have this, you know, energy or you know, space for new music. So it was kind of healthy, you know, to stop and to be alone and to write music. And also, I feel like now, you know, we shouldn't be afraid, because we just experienced like how it is really important to have music in the world, and how everyone is now thirsty of it. They want to hear it, and this is what I feel, this huge support for musicians, for artists, because actually not the science, not the, you know, in a way not the science or other spheres will help us as a society in long distance, I mean, facing this ecological disasters and stuff, but actually art. If we will reflect these changes through the art in every corner, in every street, I mean, paintings, concerts, literature and everything. So I think what I feel really during this time, that we started to appreciate even more the arts and concerts and music. And I know it's difficult to organize now, it's difficult to travel, it's difficult to do, but in a way we need it even more. So, and it's beautiful to see the audiences, you know, who are sitting in the concert. I was here yesterday, we just arrived, and I went to this beautiful concert, Daniel Hope and Papanos and Botvinov. And it was just amazing to see this beautiful, you know, only eyes of the audiences, and to understand that it will never disappear. Art will never disappear. It never did, and it will never disappear. And yeah, it's really important.
Yes, the audience missed very
Yeah.
much as musicians also.
Yes.
And I think it was the reason you agreed to come to us.
Yes, it was a difficult decision, but just because of this, uncertainty and